back for another update. Let's take a look at the Richard Heart ecosystem today. We'll take a look at PulseX, PLS, eHEX, and pHEX. And if we have some time, we'll also take a look at some meme coins on the PulseChain ecosystem. And this is PulseX over here. Very nice accumulation wedge, very nice pennant that we have. We've been within this pennant for about 611 days, so almost 2 years. And this was our established range within the pennant at the lows. Right over here, we had our spring come in. Then you had your initial advance. So I'll make the line thicker so you guys can see. Also zoom in. So this over here was your selling climax. You had your automatic rally, your secondary test of the lows, your failed breakout, and then your secondary test in phase B or your spring, right? You tend to form smaller accumulation ranges within larger accumulation ranges. This over here is our larger accumulation range. And we have 5 waves within here. So we have our W, X, Y, X, and then this is your Z. And sometimes this Z is shallow before you tend to see the reversal. So we'll keep an eye on that. And this smaller accumulation range over here, after your spring came in, you had your initial advance and then you had your test right over here. And then your test or your last point of support. Then you have continuation, your second last point of support, and then you have what's called your sign of strength. After your sign of strength comes in, you come back to back test the top of the range. But you see how well we held this support right here? We dipped below it twice, over here and over here. But we still remained above it. You see how well this support is holding right here? This range high of this range. You see this range? So this range high is holding. So that's a very good sign. So after this backup phase is completed, you then have continuation. Now in the case where the 618 gets lost over here, so all I did to find these supports right here is I just took a fib from this low right here up to this high. So from September low up to December high. We currently bounced off the 618 right over here. We actually came all the way down to the 702 with this wick and then tap the 618. If we lose the 618, then we'll just come down to the 786 right here at 402135 as a wick. Maybe even have a deviation below this trendline support right here. See, maybe even have a deviation below it. That's when all the traders go short and then you have a short squeeze, right? But this is worst case scenario. The optimistic scenario is that we just chop around this region right here. Within this region. And then we can continue up from there. And now for the targets, what we would be doing is just taking a fib from this high down to this low on the linear and the log scale. We can see the 4.236% extension is sitting at 305757. So a nice 20x from here. Yeah, about 17x. And then let's say we were to just take this whole range and then flip it on its head. It would take us to here at the measured technical target sitting at around 3096 and 2012. So that would be a nice 28 to 36x. What we can also do is analyze the volume right from the beginning. And we do see that we're right on the point of control right here. So the most traded volumes, you see how well we're holding this as support? We're above it now. And what you tend to notice in crypto, especially crypto, you tend to notice a lot of retail pattern fakeouts. Like for example, you'll have a pattern like this, right? And then a lot of traders will say, "Oh, this is a head and shoulders. It's going to break down and it's going to go to it's going to go down really low." But what you tend to have is just a fake out below the neckline, chop around here, and during this chop, a lot of traders get shaken out. A lot of traders and investors. And then all of a sudden, you get this short squeeze. And we see something very similar, right? Very similar here on PulseX. This is your left shoulder, this is your head, and then you have your right shoulder. This over here is your neckline, right over here. So if we do come down here, just know that it's just manipulation down towards these fib supports before we have continuation up. Okay, this would be the optimistic scenarios. Just chop around this region right here before continuing higher. And we'll take a look at the MACD, see if there's any momentum shifts. Yeah, so the daily is still below the zero line and it is turning up towards it. Okay, so we do have some strength. Let's check the 3-day here. Yeah. So nothing too significant on the momentum indicators, but I wouldn't fade this pattern because the fact that news came out right at the fourth wave. So if we were to just take a look at this from an Elliott wave point of view, we could see that it looks something like this, where so this is your W, your X, your Y, your X, and then you have your Z, like this, you see? And you have 3 waves within each of these waves. Notice how we have 3 waves every single time, and once we got to the third wave here on X, the news came out. And like it came out right here. So what I think is that it's all baked into the charts. And I feel like it was just coordinated. So this was our sign of strength. We came down for our backup phase, retesting this smaller accumulation range within this larger one for your Z wave. Now this Z wave may be shallow or it may come down to this trendline support. Worst case scenario, it has a deviation below it towards the 886. Then we see a blast off from there. Let's go ahead and take a look at PLS. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it here. I think this is it right here. And same thing, right? Let's see where we hit relative to our September low and up to our December high. You see how we came down to the 786 here? And this is usually where you tend to see a bounce in crypto. The 786, 702. So it wouldn't surprise me. This is our last point of support before we have continuation. In order to confirm this, I would want to see a move above this level right here at 407784 on the 4-hour time frame. And the reason I think that the PulseChain ecosystem is bottoming out is because of ETH. ETH has likely hit a bottom here. I just posted ETH over here on my Twitter. Let's take a look at ETH. Yeah, so you see how this fourth wave is finished. We swept our sell side liquidity, tapped the 200-day SMA and the 50% fib, and then we had a range reclaim. Once we had this range reclaim, you had the Trump team buying ETH publicly. They were literally selling their meme coin to buy ETH once we had this range reclaim. So I'm thinking we just chop around here at these fibs before we have continuation up to 4,700 and then eventually 7 to 9K. But yeah, it's looking good here for the altcoin market, and that would definitely translate to positive performance in the PulseChain ecosystem. But yeah, I think this is a last point of support here. And this whole range over here was accumulation. And I think that the next target here on PLS would be this region right here at 301523. That would be about a 205% increase. And in order to find, wait, let me see here. Yeah, sorry, 163% increase. And in order to find the targets, we would be doing the same thing as PLS. Sorry, the same thing as PulseX. We would want to take a look at the most conservative targets. Just so we can be safe. And we do see that the 2.618 and the 3.618 would be valid targets. Remember, this is our range high right here. This is our range low, and then this is our median. So I think we're going to have that full-on breakout. It's going to do something like this. This is what I'm thinking. This is just a estimate. But so far this support is holding right here on the 702. Worst case scenario, we see something like this on PLS. I would say that's the worst case scenario. If we lose the 786, it would just do this, come down to range low, but I doubt it, considering the strength of ETH. So we definitely want to keep our eye on ETH, but so far the ecosystem is holding support here. Don't be surprised if we see wicks along the way and shakeouts, because like around this support is where you would tend to see it before we have continuation higher. So just be mindful of that. When we go ahead and take a look at pHEX, so this is pHEX, this is your range over here. You had your ABC. This is your Wyckoff range. This is your accumulation, your manipulation where the CO accumulates, and your distribution, or in other words, expansion. Right? You had your 3 down in your A, your 3 up in your B, and then a 5-wave move to the downside within your C wave. We perfectly call this on my Twitter right here. Right here. Price went up about 580% from there. We came, and all we did over here, and look what we have here. Your head and shoulders fake out. You guys see that? This over here, and this is just a back test of the median of the entirety of this range. And it's also just a fake out under this neckline. Worst case scenario, what I'm thinking is that it comes down to here at the 786. So like right, like it would just chop around here and then do something like that, and then it would just be a wick under the trend line before continuing higher. So just know that all of this price action that you see here is just pure manipulation before we continue on higher. because that news actually didn't affect the price that much in the ecosystem. It was totally baked into the charts. Yeah, so these are the conservative targets. I think we go towards the 423.6% extension at a little bit shy of 17 cent. That would be about a 10x, but I do think in crypto what you tend to see is a overshoot of the 4.236, and we hit the 4.236, you tend to see a decline or some type of consolidation pattern before you have that overshoot. And then we come down from there. You have your one final push and then you come down like that. So wherever this tops out at and wherever this bottoms out at, we'll take a fib from here to here on the log scale. And then you can measure the last push, right? But we'll see it level for level once we get there. So far, pHEX is looking very good. All we were doing over here was just having a back test of this median before we have continuation. Okay, this is the, yeah, these are the linear fibs right here. Okay. What I would want to see going forward from bulls is a move above this trend line. Okay, once we get over here, once we get a daily close above this level, that would be very bullish. If we want to be more precise, we could just take a fib from this high down to this low. And yeah, if we get above, if we start getting above the 618, 702, then you know that things are starting to heat up. So the 618 is over here, 702, and then you get above the 786, which is the final boss. Then you know you're off to the races and you're going to go and take out 3 cent. You're going to take out this high in December. So these are the fibs. Everything is looking healthy with the structure. Like I said, this was just a pure manipulative shakeout in order for the CO to accumulate more. Let's go ahead and take a look at HEX. Before we take a look at HEX, let's take a look at incentive token. Okay, so incentive token, it actually hasn't changed since the last analysis. I think I did an analysis here. Okay, yeah, so this is the analysis here on incentive token. And it's just Wyckoff accumulation. You see this rectangular range right here at the lows? That's pure Wyckoff accumulation. People are accumulating incentive. They're selling on the advances. They're selling on the advance and then reaccumulating on the pullbacks. This is what the composite operator does. In order to stay a market maker, they do these types of actions. They sell into the advance of the range, and then rebuy their shares on the decline, right? They sell into the advance and then rebuy, right? So this is just the way the market works. I do think that we're going to see a push up from this region. As long as ETH can hold, then we should be okay. So let's take a look at ETH over here. It is holding. It's holding very well. right? So as long as we can hold these fibs here, then I don't see a reason why we shouldn't go up. I don't see a reason why we won't go up, why we wouldn't go up. Yeah, so this is incentive token. All I did to find these targets, took a fib from this high down to this low here. Now, this scenario over here, this would be the worst case scenario. This is what I think is going to happen. We're just going to see a nice pop up above this range, like that. We're going to see a pop up above this internal range, buy side liquidity. So we see a push up, a little bit of a check back, maybe 23.6 to 50% of the way down, and then see a nice push up for continuation higher. Okay, worst case scenario, we come down below $1.92 from this level, and then we would just come down and sweep this low right here. But that would be the worst case scenario. Right here. So yeah, I'm very bullish on incentive token because it follows Elliott wave very well. Right? This over here is our 5-wave move to the upside in our A wave or our wave 1. And then you have your A, B, C for your B wave or your wave 2. And now we're starting the next 5-wave move to the upside. Okay, but I would want to see a breakout of this internal range here. So far, it is holding. Everything is holding. And I do think we're going to get that expansion in the ecosystem. Let's go ahead and take a look at HEX. So HEX is up right now. Like I said in my last video, guys, this was just a wave 1. We were coming down for a wave 2. Before we have that third wave to the upside, we also have Class C bullish divergence with a higher low. And, sorry, this is hidden bullish divergence. We have a lower low on the RSI with a higher low on the price. MACD turning up under the 0 line on the daily time frame. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's go on the weekly time frame, and this is what we see so far. Look at this nice weekly candle right here, right off the 50% fib. We wick down to the 618, and then this weekly open had a very nice push off the 50%. Okay, so what I would want to see here going forward from HEX bulls is a push above this level right here at 0.00534 on the 4-hour time frame. Once we get above this level on the 4-hour time frame, then we know for sure that we're going to go in for our wave 3. This is what I see on HEX. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Everything is looking good in the ecosystem. I believe that news that came out with Richard Hart it's just fugazi. It's not real. And yeah, it's just a coordinated FUD attempt in order for the CEO to scoop up more coins. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out. Take it easy. See you in the next one.